Here we are. It's Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday. And I can't believe it's already February. How is it already February 2026? It's amazing how the time goes so fast. But I just learned a little hack about that I'm going to share with you before we get into our live show today. We always talk about how quickly time goes by, and we talk about how time goes by quicker as you get older. And I don't believe that. In fact, here at Live Beyond Default, we challenge what the status quo is, and we go beyond. We go beyond default. So check this out. I want you to jam on this for a while this weekend. So instead of saying that time goes quicker as we get older, what I would say is time goes by slower, and it feels like we have more time when we do different things throughout the day. The challenge is when we look back, me included, to yesterday or the day before, we've done so many things over and over and over again that were just the same, that our brain has nothing to go back to that was new. So therefore, it feels like the time went by fast. But if you do something different, say, take a walk or go meet someone new, drive somewhere different to work, go rock climbing, try square dancing or salsa dancing, maybe start a new language, something even short. I know starting language is long, but the point is doing something small that's different during the day is going to make the day seem longer and like it didn't go by as fast. So that's our little nugget to start off the show. Okay, quote for today is, "A hero is no braver than an ordinary man, but his brave 5 minutes longer." That's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. So think about that. To be a hero, it's no braver than the ordinary man or woman, but the brave is just 5 minutes longer. And on that, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream, your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I am your host. We are live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights, and I am hyped up and excited for today because it is February. We're throwing out all, we're throwing out all those norms and what we should have been doing over January, and we're not going to beat ourselves up for maybe falling off on some goals or some habits that we wanted to start. We're going to dive right into this today because it's exciting. We've got the momentum going, and I know that you all are excited out there. So take out your notebooks. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Okay, I want you to drop in the chat something you are grateful for today. We always want to start off with some gratitude because we know that gratitude is the key to happiness, which is a great way to start off your day anyway. What are we grateful today? I am grateful today for the courage to make big choices in my life that maybe 10 years ago I would not have been able to make. So here, that's what I'm grateful for today. Drop it in the chat, what you're grateful for. Hello, Kat. Hello, Big B. Appreciate that you are on the show. And yeah, drop in the chat what you're grateful for, because I don't care whether your January lit a fire under you or left you flat. It doesn't matter. We're going to even the playing field out because this episode is going to be for you. The growth does not come from perfection. The growth comes from bravery. Let's talk about this plant right here. This plant was, I think it had like 3 or 4 leaves on it when somebody gave it to me. Now, this plant is growing from nurturing every single day. Some days I talk to it. Yes, I admit it on this live stream. I talk to my plants. I realized at times I was watering it too much. I also realized, because I face south here, live from the loft, that it was getting too much light or maybe not enough light. So what I would do is I would monitor this plant as it would go along, and I would say, hey, how you feeling today? How you looking? Do we have a new sprout coming out or not? And I would monitor it. And I would challenge all of us that we want to monitor as we go along into 2026 and recognize that it's not too late to reset, because this girl here was not getting enough light. So I decided to put her in a different place. And wouldn't you know, she started growing. I made sure that now that I put her in more light, I made sure that I was watering her more often. So I'm using this plant as a reference here because it really has to do a lot with our habits, perhaps where we are in 2026, and to recognize that courage and bravery, it takes time, but we're also going to define the differences with that. So here it says that bravery is generally defined as an impulsive or innate ability to confront danger or fear without hesitation, often short-term instinctive action, where courage is more of a conscious, long-term, and intentional marathon effect to move towards despite being afraid, driven by values and purpose. So let's just define here that bravery might be short-term. You're brave at the moment to do something, and courage is more long-term. But they're going to kind of be intertwined in this because we don't want to get lost in the semantics. What we want to do is connect with our heart. We want to connect with the purpose and the big picture of why we're all here and how we want the rest of 2026 to go. It's not too late. Your New Year's energy may be fading a little bit, but you're not behind. You're actually exactly where you need to be, as long as you choose to begin again. And that's what we're doing on this show today. We are going to begin again. Kat, thanks for being on. Also grateful for opportunities for new beginnings, for your friendship. Thank you too. I appreciate you. Alicia, good morning, Dave. Love you. Appreciate you being on here. Sam Vargas, good analogy. Yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate you being on the show. And Michelle Epperson says, never too late. Cheers. And we have seasons of life, and there are seasons within seasons. Often age 0 to 22 is considered spring. We are growing and learning a ton here. But no matter our age, even at 50, we will be in a season of spring, green and growing. Michelle, I love that. Talk about being profound at 8:38 in the morning on a Thursday. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love you, Michelle. Can't wait to see the family soon. And yes, it's like the plant like here, like I mentioned. Being brave enough to move the plant around, but the plant has the courage to grow and be long-term. So let's dive into this right now. We're going to start off with 3 key reflections to share. We want to have a little bit of structure to the show, right? So we can keep ourselves moving forward, where you're watching live, watching the replay, or just listening while you're driving in the car. Okay, number 1, remember, progress is not perfect. It never is perfect. In fact, there's a couple words that I say we need to get rid of, right? If anybody knows one of those words, drop it in the chat. It starts with an S. I'll give you a hint. Another word I always say that we need to get rid of is perfect, because there's no such thing as perfect. This French press coffee from Conscious Cup that I'm sipping here, it's amazing, wonderful, 10 out of 10. Is it perfect? No. Am I looking for it to be perfect? No. We always want to strive for perfection because we see social media posts, or some of our parents or family or friends, or let's say coworkers, put in our minds back in the day that things have to be perfect, and it's just not true. So remember, progress does not equal perfection. Progress is messy. Progress is you go up, and then you go down, and then you spiral, and then you go around, and then you move up like this. That's what progress is. It's a mess. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a parent, if you're a boyfriend or girlfriend or a sibling, or even if you're an employee, W-2 employee, you totally know that progress is not perfect. Michelle, thank you. I'm doing my best to bring out the best in everyone, right? Thank you. Yes, Brandon has it. The one word that I say to get rid of is sorry. Yes. No more saying that we're sorry. No more that we're saying sorry. And I'm throwing in perfect now. So progress is not perfect. You're not failing. You're learning. You're failing forward. Maybe some of these goals or habits that you decided on in November, December, January, they're just not right for you in 2026. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. Remember that. But also remember, you're just not failing. You're learning. You're learning what's going to work. And so often I go with my gut, and my gut's never failed me. Every successful person that I know, and I know that you know too, they started again and again. Think about it. Think about your parents. Think about your siblings. Think about a business owner that you know. Think about a nonprofit owner that you know. Think about that dude, that the free solo climber. You know who I'm talking about? He just climbed that building in China. I saw his movie years ago where he climbs rocks without ropes. He starts again and again and again. And remember, bravery looks like action, even small steps. And that's where we share that difference between bravery and courage. Brave is short term, it's that action on the spot, whereas being courageous is more of a long term marathon. Either way, they're both good. So let's think today. Progress is not perfect. And where is there a small step that today we could be brave? Where can we be brave today? Maybe it's looking yourself in the mirror and saying, you know what? I've been meaning to do this, and I'm just afraid I'm not going to do it that well. So I'm actually going to give it a try, and I'm not going to care what I look like when I do it. Because what I've realized too is nobody else cares what you look like either. We're all so in our heads. There's so many distractions going on. Nobody's even paying attention. But you, at the end of the day, like me, have to look in the mirror at ourselves. Good morning, Dawn Block. Thanks for hopping on. Jimmy says, good morning, Dave. I'm grateful for the realization that I need to continue to work on myself, monitoring the state of mind on a daily basis every morning and bolstering my interior dialogue. Team America, F yeah. I love that. Jimmy, that hits home with me. Thank you for saying this. So I want to repeat something here. He wants to work on his self, monitoring state of mind on a daily basis every morning and bolstering his interior dialogue. How many of us, raise your hands, throw it in the chat, how many of us have that interior dialogue that says, we don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. Oh gosh, I wish I didn't have to do this today. Come on, throw a yes in the chat if you do. I know that you do. Be brave and throw a yes in the chat. I wake up in the morning and that record player is going and going in my head. And Jim, what you said there means so much to me. It's bolstering that interior dialogue, because a lot of times, now this might get a little woo-woo for some of you, but I believe that so often that our interior dialogue and our thoughts, they're really not even ours. I feel so often that it's just the energy level that we're at, and we're attracting these thoughts that come in from God and from the ether, whatever you believe in. And so often they're not even ours. So yes, Jimmy, we are all going to work on that. We're going to monitor our mind on a daily basis every morning and that interior dialogue. Okay. So the three key reflections that we're sharing. Number one, we started with progress is not perfect. Number two, this one is important. Reframe failure. It's always about the frame that we're setting. And that's really what defines our day, and it defines our life, and it defines what's moving forward. So the mistakes that you made, they're feedback. They're not a final judgment. So think about that. Think about any mistake that you made recently, and think about the feedback and what you might have learned from it. I have so many of them. I would need pounds and pounds of paper if I was writing it, or pages and pages in my Apple Notes. So many failures. But I realized that every mistake that I make gives me feedback. It gives me feedback to grow as a person, as a sibling, as an uncle, as a boyfriend, as a son, as a coworker, as a realtor. Big, right? So easy to make a mistake or to overlook something in real estate with a buyer or a seller client. And it happens, but we have checks and balances. And so when the mistake, if the mistake happens and when it happens, we know what to do next. I know what to do next, but mistakes happen. And almost always the client understands that. So remember, mistakes are only feedback. They're not the final judgment. And as Jimmy said about the interior dialogue, like, what is this judgment? We're constantly judging ourselves. And I know that I'm guilty of it too. And it just seems like whenever my energy is low, those negative thoughts come in. Pam Orr, love to see you on the show. She says, love that. Failure is feedback, not final judgment. Yes. Thank you so much for hopping on, Pam. Love you. Appreciate you. Look forward to see you soon. And of course, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, you might be watching live. Thank you very much. Or you might be watching the replay on one of those three, or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Either way, I love you. I so appreciate you all hopping on this show. Hearts to all of you. Let's keep going. So as we're reframing failure, mistakes are feedback. They're not the final judgment. What you label as failure may actually be fuel. Boom, boom, boom. That is a nugget that I want to invest a little bit of time in right here. Think about that. What you label a failure may actually be fuel. I look back in my life and I want you all to imagine and remember a time where you had a failure and it was on your mind afterwards. Maybe you were beating yourself up. Maybe you were angry at somebody else. We know that doesn't do any good either. Or maybe you were just disappointed in yourself and maybe you knew you could do better. And maybe there was a little bit of anger in there too, which healthy anger is okay. Think about this. Use the failure as fuel. If you're hurting or you're disappointed or you have an emotion and that energy is in there, transmute it. Turn it into fuel. You may as well, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to take it out on somebody else, your kids, your siblings, your coworkers, your clients, your parents, yourself, your husband, your wife, she, he, they, them, whoever. You're going to take it out on them. So I'm going to challenge you and myself in this early February 2026 that what we label as failure might actually be fuel. So let's use our failures. Let's use that emotional disappointment. Let's use maybe some of that anger, because we all have it. It's okay that we're angry, but let's use it as fuel, as good fuel to move us forward in that direction. Okay? It's not easy. None of this is easy that we talk about, but we're all challenging ourselves to become better. I so appreciate everybody watching and throwing comments in. We're here to grow. We're here to love, and we're here to create that community. So let's keep it going for ourselves. Lastly, what story are you telling yourself now? These stories are, like Jimmy said, like I mentioned, the stories overplay. And I learned something from somebody that I admire very much, that think about the stories that we play of who we're supposed to be, and looking in the past of things we did or didn't do. And we attach stories to these things and these incidents. And instead of saying that your present right now is defined by your past, let's flip that around And let's say that your past is defined by your present. And however you feel right now, energetically, and whatever story you're telling yourself right now will reframe, or this is the left, reframe what happened in the past, and therefore redefine your present and the future. I know I said a lot there. Might have been tough to grasp. I don't even know half of what I said because I'm in this flow state, but I know I mean it. So I'll say it again. What's the story that you're telling yourself right now? Think of some things in the past that maybe you're disappointed with. It could just be a few weeks ago, or it could be years ago. So instead of that moment defining your present, instead, let's let the present right now, today, define our past. And therefore, since we've reframed that past, we're going to use that energy to move forward in the future. And that's like a super hack to do psychologically. Again, not easy, but just challenge yourself. And the first step is just to be aware of the stories that you're telling yourself right now. Okay, so of the 3 key reflections to share, we started off with progress is not perfect, and we went into reframing failure, and now we are going to go into resetting the year with purpose. Let's reset 2026 with purpose. What matters most right now to you? We're in February. We've had a month in the new year. What really matters to you right now? Not what other people say that you're supposed to do, not what social media tells you to do, not what the news is spewing at us all day long to try to get us to be victim, villain, fight, or flight. None of that. What matters to you most right now? And I'm going to challenge, and I've learned this from mentors, Ben, Joe, Rodka, so many people in my life, Nate, Jim, Brandon. I could go on and on for so many people that have shared this with me. But think about this. I will bet you that 80%, I'm using that 80-20 rule, 80% of what you think matters doesn't. I know that's hard to grasp. And I hate reminding myself of that. I don't like that word. I dislike language patterns. I dislike reminding myself of that. I dislike it so much. 80% of what I'm doing, Dave, really doesn't matter. And when I think about it, when it comes to my health, 80% doesn't really matter. You know what? It's right. What does matter? I'm getting good sleep, that I'm drinking enough water, that I'm eating the right foods, that I'm taking a walk every day, and that I'm exercising enough every week. That's what really matters. All the other stuff doesn't really matter. In real estate, I look at that. What really matters? There's so many, and you know this in your industry. Now, I know AI is changing a lot of things, and that's not going to go away. But think of how many new quick fixes or fads or new software. Oh, it's going to change this and it's going to do that. And I've seen it over the last 5 years, and I've seen so much. And when I think about it and I recognize it, 80% of it doesn't really matter. It does no good for me, but most importantly, it does no good for my clients. And that's what's most important. My purpose is to leave people better than I found them. I hope I'm doing that on this show. I hope I'm doing that with my clients in real estate. And I hope I'm doing that with my family and friends, leaving people better than I found them. That's my purpose. Challenge yourself, find what your purpose is, and recognize what matters the most right now. Next, what habits or distractions are getting in the way? Thank you for understanding my pause and water breaks. Habits and distractions. There are so many distractions. We talk about this all the time, and I'm going to keep talking about it. This is episode 95. On episode 100, you're probably going to hear me say stuff about distractions. Distractions are everywhere. People food. Have you seen The Matrix? The woman in the red dress that walks by. It's not about a sexy woman to a man walking by in a red dress. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with a shiny object that really doesn't matter. In fact, as you grow and as you develop more, all of us in any area of life, the distractions become louder. The sirens get louder. The shiny objects become shinier, and they're testing you to see if you're ready to stay focused and go on to that next level. So ask yourself, what habits or distractions are getting in the way? Maybe we're watching too much of TV or social media close before we're going to bed. That could be a distraction. Maybe we're drinking too much coffee during the day and we're all caffeined out at 5 p.m. There's so many things, that we could go over this laundry list, and we're not here to judge. We're not here to judge. We're just here to self-reflect. Always give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up, but also be firm with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror. And remember too, you're setting an example for your kids. You're setting an example for your nieces and your nephews, right? Uncle Dave, you're setting examples for your coworkers and people in the industry and your siblings and your parents. You're setting the example. Don't leave it to anybody else. I challenge you, 2026, make it work. There's too many distractions going on with whatever's going on in the world, whatever's happening in AI, so many things. Focus on the heart. Focus on yourself. You know how to do it, and I know how to do it, and we're going to do it, okay? We're going to do it together. I promise you that. So what habits or distractions are getting in the way? Lastly, you don't need a new calendar. You need a new commitment. Yeah, I love that. You need a new commitment. And the commitment could be so simple. It could be when you're waking up, drink a glass of water before you get out of bed, before you start your day. It could be taking a half-hour walk. It could be making 5 new prospecting calls a day. It could be reading out of a book with your kid for 10 minutes every single day, whether they understand the words or not, because they're absorbing it and it goes in. Maybe the commitment could be date night. For those of you that have been in marriages for a long time, or those of you in marriages with kids, or maybe you just had a kid and you want to make sure that you and your partner, your significant other, still have that spark and get the opportunity for that date night so you can keep that relationship kindling. You don't need a new calendar. Use the Google or Outlook calendar. It's great. You need a new commitment. And I challenge you on this. Make a color code in either your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar and put it as like a commitment to yourself. Maybe put a heart emoji, put a color in there that you love, that's emotional, and then schedule you time throughout the week. And then look back at the week on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and see how much you time did you actually give? How much time did you share with yourself? Michelle says you need to be on Diary of a CEO next. Yes, thank you. I love that. And I'm honored that you said that, Michelle. So today we went over the 3 key reflections. Progress is not perfect. We want to reframe failure, and we want to reset with purpose to move forward. Now, I'm going to ask some questions, and I really want us to think here. Do you have the courage, or are you brave enough to look yourself in the mirror every day and be honest? Are you brave enough to set a boundary with a family member or a coworker or a client or a friend? Are you brave enough, or do you have the courage to tell someone that you love they're playing small and encourage them to play bigger? Do you have the courage to break up with someone that maybe you love but it's just not working? Do you have the courage and the bravery to go to your boss and say, I'm worth more. I want a raise. And if not, I'm going to have to move on. Do you have the courage to ask for forgiveness when you've messed up? Do you have the courage to ask for the order if you're a salesperson? I want you all to think like I've been thinking. If I have the courage, I know some of you can relate to these, but some of you maybe not, and you have something else that you're thinking about. You could drop it in the chat. If not, just keep it on your mind. But more importantly, keep it in your heart and ask yourself, do I have the courage to, and fill in the blank? And I'm going to guarantee you that whatever pops up in that question that you're asking yourself, whatever pops up, I guarantee it. That's what matters in your life, because it's dropping in for a reason. It's not all that other stuff. That's what matters in your life. I've had challenges from the beginning of this year on, and I've had a lot of challenges in my life, as you know, and I'm open and transparent about that. And it's like every time I do something, I have to face the failure of maybe what I didn't do or what I would have liked to have done earlier, right? The best time to plant a tree is yesterday. The second best time to plant a tree is today. And so often, whether it's something in business or something with my health or with relationships, I constantly have to face, why didn't I do that before? Oh, things would be different if I started at that. And it really can be a spiral. And I'm opening up with you transparently. It happens to me regularly. And it's a challenge for me to like restart something just because of that. And I've also realized that now more than ever, and when I mean now, I mean 2026, compared to 10 years ago, but compared to 5 or 6 years ago, now more than ever, it's detrimental if you wait and you don't take that action and you don't have that bravery of courage. And also, if you do have that bravery and courage, it's that much more impactful with greater results quicker, just if you begin. So think about that. The more you wait to do something now in 2026, more than ever, it just becomes more detrimental to you. But just having the courage to restart something that you know you need to do, I promise you, it'll be more impactful and have greater results quicker than ever before in time. So we need this. We need us in the heart. We need us in the mind. We need us to surround ourselves with the right people. And that's how we're going to get through this. And that's how we're going to thrive, not just survive. That's how we're going to live beyond default and challenge ourselves, even if it looks silly because we're going to bed early or we're not drinking or doing drugs, or we decide to start up that business, or we say, no, we've got to work today. We need to be inside and we miss that fun time. This is the time. It's not going to get any easier. It's only going to get harder. So I challenge all of us, just pick one thing. Pick one thing. Audit your past month. What's a win that you had? What's one lesson? And pick one priority for the next 7 days. Not 10 priorities. Just pick one that you could do for the next 7 days. And on the next show or on these comments later, or you can always DM me, tell me something that you've done for the next 7 days. And remember to always reconnect with your why. Because why does this even matter to you? If you don't have a bigger why, you don't have a bigger picture of why you're doing all this, you're just going to fall off. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. So remember, January, it's over. Maybe it didn't go the way that you hoped. That does not mean that the year is lost, because your next win starts with one brave decision. be brave enough to begin again. That's how we live beyond default. And thank you for watching this episode number 95 of Live Beyond Default live stream, live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights. My name is Dave. Oh, and if you didn't catch the last one with Ritesh Shah, episode 94, go back and look at it, okay? My name is Dave. I so appreciate you being here. I'm excited. I'm loving life. We're going to do great out there, okay? Let's make the rest of the week great. And until next time, we'll see you. Enjoy yourself, take care of yourself, and be kind to yourself.